So, do you remember this Game Gear port for Sonic the Hedgehog 2 that was supposed to be for the Master System as well? Well, a lot of people had lots of bad memories of this game, especially with all the stuff that they had. There are some good stuff about the game, but it's not a terrible game. But mine was not the same as everybody's. When I was 5 years old, I got my very first copy of Sonic the Hedgehog 2 on the Sega Master System. This is when I got into Sega games. The first Sega game I got was Streets of Rage 2 on the Sega Master System. And the second game I got was Alex Kidd in the Miracle World. And I enjoyed that more than Streets of Rage 2, mostly because I didn't find Streets of Rage 2 on the Master System epic for some reason. But at the age of 18, I revisited Streets of Rage 2, and I realized how much of a piece of shit it was. The controls were choppy, it wasn't that good, the camera was awful, and it's unresponsive. Most of the time, when I played some Master System games, people called me an idiot for playing Sega games and said that I should play some Nintendo consoles, which that shouldn't be the case because people can have their own different opinions. Fortunately, I had to trade my game Sonic 2 for the Sega Master System and trade it with my friends. Mostly because I thought Sonic 2 on the Master System was getting boring for me when I played it multiple times. Nowadays, I have newer consoles like the PlayStation 5, the Xbox 360, and the Wii. Most people still saw me broke because I didn't have enough money. But I have a job because I usually have to get some money done. When I was 10 years old, my uncle gave me the Sega Genesis because he said he was getting bored of it now, and said it would be a great idea to give me the Sega Genesis to me. I didn't even care anyways, but it also came with games like Sonic 3 and Knuckles with the lock-on technology, Altered Beast, and some sports games that he got. And I mean a lot. Now at 2018, I just didn't seem to play with all the other consoles nowadays, mostly because I was trying to work on my job and I had to take a break from video games. It was June 7th, 2018. I was playing Call of Duty Black Ops with one of my friends until I heard a doorbell. And I got a letter, and it said that it would give me free games. I didn't fall for that because I thought it was one of those scams you would see on the internet. So I didn't fall for it. And then in the 26th, I finally got the letter, and then I finally got the chance to do it. I was hoping it wouldn't be a scam, but luckily it wasn't. It was one of my friends just telling me to get some new games, because luckily he gave me a new copy of Sonic 2 on the Sega Master System. And I was excited to play the game, because I thought it would be the same as it was from my childhood. So I ran back home, but I didn't even bother to play the game because I said I will do it later. But then he told me that there were some other games he got. Yes, he drove me back home. He had other games like Alex Kidd in Miracle World on the Sega Master System. It was really cool because I was so happy that he got it, because my old copy was smashed from my little brother, who hated me for some reason. It said that he wished I never played video games, and said that video games is for losers. But I didn't give a shit about it. I also gave one of my friends my copy of Streets of Rage 2 on the Sega Master System. After all, I did get the Sega Genesis port, and I thought it was a lot better than the Master System port. And he said he would take care of it, and said that he would save it for a review on YouTube. So, he drove back home. He also left the box for me. So yeah, the box was full of other games. There were some other games like Action 52 for the Nintendo, even though I never had a Nintendo as a kid. It was July 5th, 2018, and I was looking at some reviews of Sonic 2 on the Master System, but before I could watch one of them, my internet got interrupted, It was because due to a power outage, so I had to wait for a long time. But when the power came out, I changed my mind. So I went back to watch AVGN just instead of watching the reviews. Just then I came to get my copy of Sonic 2 on the Sega Master System. But I changed my mind again like a little pussy I was. So I said I would save it for later. Again, like a little pussy I was. When I was outside with my friends going to the park, we were talking about some creepy stories in the campfire because we were camping outside of the park. And then my friend told me one of the most stupidest creepypastas ever, and it was Sonic.exe. And for some reason I just laughed and cringed at the same time because I thought it was a terrible story. My friend told me he was going to talk about VV Windows, and for a second I thought it would be some stupid Windows creepypasta. But it was something else. It was just a creepy video that was on the internet. And I don't even want to get into detail from this video anyway. And it's too disgusting to talk about. And then, in July 7th, 2018, I finally got the chance to play Sonic 2 on the Sega Master System. It was a long time after I played this game, and I decided to play it. The game starts up with the Sega intro, just like what it does with every Sonic game from the 90s, like Sonic 1, Sonic 2, Sonic 3 and Knuckles, and Sonic 3D Blast. But it was completely different because Sonic runs around in the Sega logo. It was almost similar to the Sonic 2 Genesis port, but it was never in the Master System port. I looked up some walkthroughs and I thought it was real, but it turns out it wasn't a part of the game. Maybe they did this when Sonic 2 for Genesis came out. And surprisingly, it came out after the Sonic 2 Genesis port. So, the title screen came, and there was no cutscene or anything. The title screen came, and it showed Sonic and Tails, like as usual. Only instead of a dark blue background like in the Game Gear and Master System port, it showed a black sky with gray mountains, and the mountains looked like the ones from Underground Zone. And it shows Sonic crying, and I mean actually crying. He was crying looking at Tails, and Tails had his eyes closed without even looking at him. It did have to press start text, and there was no creepy music or some shit like that. It was just silence. So I pressed the start button, and the zone said, Last Chance, Act 0. The zone started, and it had this weird kind of music to it. It sounded like some wind and some sounds that were like, and some crap like that. And I was playing as Tails instead of Sonic. All the background sprites and everything about Underground Zone, it was all black and white. Apart from the rails, all the rails seemed to be all bloody. And no, there was no corpses or anything. It was just blood. When I was just roaming around in the zone, I encountered a gray ring. It's just like in the Sonic 2 Master System port. You collect every ring. So, I was completing the zone, and I completed it. The signpost was shown as normal, only it was pitch black. There was no picture or anything, it was just pitch black. And the music stopped when I hit the signpost. And then it cut to black. And then it showed a cutscene. It was Tails rolled into a ball, only he was falling down. He was cornered by two walls. And then, for a split second, I saw spikes. And then it played a gushing noise. And I was gagging when I heard that noise. And then I heard a little giggle. And then it said, "You have met a terrible fate, haven't you?" It almost sounded like it came from Majora. You know, that creepypasta with Ben drowned. And then it came to another zone. This time it was named The Dawn of a New Day, 0 hours remaining. I thought it was stupid because usually in video games, it would just tell you how many hours it would remain. But I just ignored that remaining 0 hours remaining part. And this time, instead of playing as Tails, I was playing as Sonic. It showed Green Hill Zone assets, and it was from the Sonic 1 Game Gear port, not the Genesis. And Sonic's sprite almost looks like the one from the Sega Genesis games, only it was revamped to look like it came from the Master System. The sky was light blue, which is a good thing, and I was just walking around, and it was just some random 8-bit music. It sounds like it came from those videos where they use some stock 8-bit music, but it sounds kinda wholesome, to be honest. And then when I was just running, I saw dead animals. Yes, dead animals, and they are bleeding. So much dead animals that there was so many. Like, it was so much that I almost gagged. And it also showed Robotnik's corpse. To be honest, I was kind of happy, but also terrified at the same time because of how creepy it looks. And the last one was just a giant pile of dead rabbits. Even some dead squirrels and dead rat and birds. Then I saw Tails. And Tails was just standing there with his eyes closed, and I was kind of terrified. I was just walking, and there was no cutscene or anything. I just moved to go check on him, and then a split half second showed his eyes were pitch black, bleeding, and it shows his smile, and it went to static. And my TVs had to say no signal, and it was pretty annoying, because I hated that. But then static came again. It came back to the Sega logo, only instead of saying Sega, I heard a laugh. And then it shows the Sonic 2 intro again, only it played the same stock 8-bit music that they had from Sonic 2, from Dawn of a New, whatever. And this time, the sky is not black anymore, and it's now red. And it shows Tails with his eyes open now, with red eyes. They weren't glowing, but he had black and red eyes, and they were bleeding, and he had a creepy grin. I pressed start again, and then it showed a zone title card saying Sunshine, Act 6.